Morning.
Morning. We got headlines today. So, happy Monday, June 15th, halfway through the month. Certainly hope everybody's plugged in. My rally cry for the last couple of weeks has been the next 60 days are going to make or break your relationship to your goals in 2026. So it's certainly a time to double down. Yet, I just gonna scroll through a couple headlines real quick. So certainly, CNN popped. U.S. and Iran reach agreement. If you just start clicking through all the main news channels, both right and left news channels, it's everywhere, right? U.S. and Iran say they agree to a deal. I thought this one was interesting. On Market Watch today, it says the stock market's poised to go crazy. On Fox, it says secures deal with Iran. Certainly this morning on CNN, U.S. and Iran reach agreement, but key questions remain. Is this that moment in time we've been waiting on? What do you think? And what's it mean for real estate?
I think gas prices will change, but
Yeah.
I don't think I think interest rates are going to be the big determiner for people buying. There may be more people that feel more confident if they focused on doom and gloom and
Yeah.
worried about the sky falling. But other than that, I think a lot of people out there are just don't even watch the news and probably don't even know their what was going on. So
I,
I think interest rates are going to still be the big picture. People will feel more confident because they have more money in their pocket if gas prices are going to come way down. That's
so I don't have the crystal ball. When I put the rates up on Monday, you should notate that this was the published rate at the close of business on Friday. So when I show this 30-year fixed rate, it's what the market closed at 4 p.m. the Friday before, right? So we know from our buddy Logan at Housing Wire that as long as the rate is below 6.64%, buyer demand tends to still be going good. And my suspicion is we're going to, I don't know if it'll hold, but my suspicion is we're going to see lower rates this week. I would venture to say there's going to be some pressure valve release that might allow these rates to come back down a little bit this week. I don't know. It depends on what happened in the stock market. Certainly, I think everybody spent all their money on SpaceX last week. But I do think the stock market's going to have some effect. That's why I was checking what Market Watch was saying. Um, but I I think the real estate consumer behavior uh, gets affected by perceptions just as much as they get affected by reality. So if a headline hits or a an agreement like this gets hits the news cycle, I do think it affects consumer behavior, and I think this will affect consumer behavior in our favor. Just my thoughts. It was open discussion before we jumped into everything today. What do you think?
Uncertainty never helps consumer behavior. So, any element of optimism and mild certainty we're going in the right direction probably ripple effects through the community.
Rick, I've been kind of uh optimistically holding out on a little second wave of real estate in 2026. Like if this agreement holds and gas prices come down and oil prices come down and mortgage rates start to give us a little relief, I kind of feel like we could feel a little bit of a second wave in 2026. I have no data outside of my own interpretation to see that, but I would hope that our agents are out there in the marketplace right now doing all the activities to take advantage of that if it happens.
Yeah.
Even
And
just
Brett,
confidence
that's really
around.
the key to it, your last statement there. I'm hoping that our agents are out there doing the activities, doing what they have to do, because no matter what happens in the market, whether this deal sticks or it doesn't stick, whether rates come down, a fraction or comes down back down to 6%, it doesn't matter. If you're doing what you have to do every day, talking to the buyers and sellers and working your sphere, it's going to be okay.
Yep.
Amen.
And
Any
also
other
being
thoughts?
aware,
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say also being aware of these headlines, whether your consumer or your clients care or not, it'll pop up in conversation, and you just need to know how to speak about it. Because if this Iran war goes away, the next thing on people's minds might be the midterms or something else like that. So just be aware and just be prepared to have conversations.
100%. All right, so I thought it was worthy to start us off today. Let's jump into the numbers. So I'm on Broward County single family. Um, we saw a pop last week in active status changes. It softened a little bit this week, but we're still at that 776 number, which is a healthy number for Broward County, especially kind of tailoring. I almost pains me to say we're kind of getting close to the second half of summer. It feels like it just started. Um, but the inventory number is certainly down from what it was last year. Yet we're still seeing a good number of new listings coming on the market. It looks like there's 32 in Broward County sitting in coming soon right now, which is a pretty thick, healthy number. AI tells us it's the all-time high. There was a big jump from 178 going under contract last week to 211. Big jump from 129 in pending to 151. So there was a big week in Broward County single family in the last 7 days of properties going under contract. 231 closed out, which is pretty consistent, maybe a little bit softer. And then there was quite a few listings withdrawn. And then a lot
You brought it
expired.
in.
Jimmy, you're not muted, just so you know. And then canceled. So there's Broward County single family. If I jump down to condo, we had 841 active status changes. There was a big week last week. So both Broward County single family and condo had a softer week of listings. And then we had a huge number of condos go pending in the last 7 days and 116 go under contract, which if you kind of put these together, it's pretty close to what, man, not exactly close, but a little bit healthier this week of properties going under contract. 144 closed out, and you can kind of see the failed listing numbers here. If I jump up to Miami-Dade single family, there was a big increase of active status. They're at 708. If you look here, we were in the 600s and we were previously in the 700s, and there was some 800 weeks previously. So 708 kind of says that product, that single family product in Miami-Dade is starting to catch some momentum. We had 131 go under contract, 180 pending, which is a considerable bump on the pending. And then 131 is just a little bit softer, but a little softer than we were seeing early May, April. And then you can see here, obviously, the canceleds. You can go study these if this is your market. Miami-Dade condo 903. So I'm just trying to get perspective. Like spring market listings were pretty heavy. 903 is a good number. It's not very high like we were seeing earlier. 97 went under contract and 119 pending, which are a little softer than we saw last week. And then 121 closed out. So kind of just a neutral week. Miami-Dade single family, except for, or Miami-Dade condo, except for the listings, right? Palm Beach. We have, let me start single family. 718 active status changes, 100 less than last week, but kind of consistent with what we were seeing before last week. So we're still, we had the spring ramp up of new listings, and then we're holding our new listing inventory healthy through the summer right now. There was 241 that went under contract, which is up from 210 the week before, 216 the week before that, 239, and getting closer to what we were seeing in the month of May. There's 105 pending, which is an increase. And you can kind of see going back, the volume of properties going under contract in all these segments have kind of held stronger in the last 7 days than what we saw the previous 6 weeks. So maybe there's some movement going on there. And then 248 on the closings. It was a softer closing week in Palm Beach. And then if I click, where is it? Palm Beach condo, we had 554. We had 121 go under contract, which was a big pop. And then there's 60 currently pending and 132 closed out. AI says a wow drop. I don't know if it was a wow drop, but it certainly just in the weeks prior, 132 is a low closing week for Palm Beach in the condo segment. What do y'all see in the numbers? What do you think?
Looks very consistent.
Yeah,
There's no
expected.
reading the tea leaves for a future when there's this. I mean, again, as I said earlier, I think consistency is a gift, and certainty never exists, but consistency sort of takes away some of the pain of what could be uncertain.
Perfect. What else? What do you see? All right. I want to point out if you're on the real estate stats site, we have added St. Lucie County. So we did not have it before. We've added this county. What happens when we add a new county is we start at a point in time. So you're not going to see a lot of graphs until we get quite a few weeks of data. So we added it over the last 7 days. We had some feedback that quite a few of you were selling up in St. Lucie. So we have added that market to our reporting. And as with all data, the more data you have, the richer the trend line becomes. So just heads up on that. All right. Let's jump into this. So on Inman this week, there was this article that said 7 copy and paste prompts to get your business recommended by AI. I think SEO, I actually had an agent text me last week that said, "Are you hearing that Google pay-per-click is dying?" I said, "That's a interesting question. I don't think it's dying, but AI is certainly growing." And here's some prompts in here that says, start with a digital footprint audit. And the prompt says, act as a digital footprint and personal branding expert, specializing in helping real estate agents become more visible in AI-powered search and recommendation platforms. Please audit my digital footprint across the Google search results, my website, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Zillow, Realtor.com, Google Business Profile, and other public online mentions. Please identify these things. Guys, this is so easy to just cut and paste this stuff into chat and hit go. And admittedly, I do not have a library of prompts saved, but I'm almost wondering if we start to create a library of AI prompts, meaning here's a cut and paste prompt for your digital footprint. Here's a cut and paste prompt for all these things. And I think it would be wise if you were a professional in the marketplace to maybe start creating a library of prompts. You could do it in a Note app. Optimize my Google business profile. Act as a Google business profile optimization expert. Please analyze my profile. Create a bio AI can actually understand. Please write my bio. Discover the questions buyers and sellers are already asking. Act as a consumer behavior and AI search expert specializing in real estate. Please identify this, then provide Instagram, YouTube, blog post ideas based on that. Create content AI wants to recommend. I mean, there's some really cool stuff in here. Obviously, we post all this in Circle, but I think if you're a professional in real estate, and the advice I've been giving agents is you have four choices. You can either ignore AI and you'll be fine today, but you'll end up exiting stage left at some point in your career. You could hire an expert for AI, or you're going to be able to buy AI, which means there's going to be some AI tools created. There already are, and you're just going to use your capital resources to buy. Or you can go crazy like us and go build stuff. But really, those are your four choices. But at the end of the day, this is going to revolutionize how real estate is agents are found and how the business is created. And my advice to anybody, it's not that complicated. Just cut and paste. Anybody read this article, thought about this? What are your thoughts on all this?
Well, what I'm figuring out, Brett, is that if I keep going back and asking questions, it gets to know me, and it also remembers all of my prior conversations. And there's even a long list on this is Chat GPT. I use that, the paid version. But if I go back to recents, I don't think you have to load these, once a week. I think you can reference back to it in a month and say, based on that conversation, what's evolved and how can I show improvement or maybe exercise more exposure in this area or in this way? And let it compound the conversation versus starting a new one. So I don't think this is an everyday, every week thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep. Any other thoughts? I hope you're committed to grabbing this article and typing some of these prompts into AI this week. And I would love for you to text me and let me know what you discovered. I found this article and I was like, this is very timely for a real estate professional. Here's another helpful article. Short form videos that engage clients in 30 seconds or less. Why 30 seconds or less? What makes short form videos actually work? And it's just more how-to guides around videos, guys. I don't need to go through all these, but I think if this is your game or you want it to be your game, I want to keep bringing resources to the table to support you in that. So pull these articles down and jump into it. All right. Did anybody, Rick, we did a Mojo Monday this morning. What was our trivia question?
It was the most viewed international sporting events or finals of a sport.
All right. So you want to give them the spoiler alert and the answer?
By a mile, it's the World Cup. By like 1.5 to 2 billion viewers versus 100 million for the Super Bowl.
Yep. We'll give you all the rest of it in our Mojo, but it's saying the World Cup is impacting the housing market in two U.S. host cities. Miami is one of them. Um, and skipping the spring market to host the World Cup, I don't know if I agree with all that. But Boston has 7 matches, and Miami has, I can't remember exactly how many. I thought it was in here, but
Seven matches.
7 matches. And welcome to Miami. The city's filling in, not emptying out, and the vibe's exciting. I know there's a game coming up, Colombia versus Portugal, which is going to be. I looked up tickets. It was like nosebleeds were like $3,500 a seat right now. Um, so it's kind of crazy, but how do we capitalize on this in the real estate? I think there's going to be a lot of people coming to town that might look at investment property, that might look at second homes. I certainly think there's a lot of people coming in and renting Airbnbs. Um you might get some open house traffic. You might be able to get more views on some of your properties. What do you think? Have you thought of this? Have you done any strategies around the World Cup in greater Miami that you think would be beneficial to share? Or am I off base here? Richard,
Like,
you read the article? Where'd your brain go?
Uh,
You're
um,
my default if
well,
nobody talks.
yeah, appreciate
I've
it.
already shared
Well, I'll tell
enough.
you
It's
what,
your
I
turn.
flew home last night from the Atlanta airport. I was amazed how many people on our flight were coming down to, were either coming home because you had a game up in Atlanta this weekend and we're coming down to watch the games coming up in the next couple of days. People travel for this. This is huge. Here's my take on it. Anytime you have a major event going on in a city like this, I don't think the immediate impact is there. I'm more for the future impact. People are coming into town, they're looking around going, "Hey, this is nice down here. I need a second home. This would be a great place to invest." So, I don't think you're going to see a 30-day bump because we've got some of the games down here, but this is the long-term growth that we have in South Florida.
I think you might meet people that are in a pipeline for the future. They may stumble into an open house or click on a listing or something along those regards that might join your pipeline for the future, right?
Yep.
Okay. Um, there was one other article I wanted to hit real quick. Just side note on that. $384 million are going to be spent on Airbnb around the World Cup. And what's crazy is Airbnb is tying tickets to the games to renting the properties, which I thought was fascinating. An interesting strategy. If you're interested, we'll leave that there. I think there is a way to use the World Cup as an opportunity for business. You should strategize around that. I'm guessing some of your social media videos, I'm guessing some of your messaging might tailor around the World Cup to track people for your pipeline of the future. Um, all right, let's go back to stats for a minute. So, housing demand is up, and I believe it's going to go even further up as a result of this peace deal or whatever in Iran. And I believe rates are going to go back down between now and the end of the year as oil starts to flow through the strait. And I think we're going to have a strong second half in terms of buyer demand. Now, the question is, do we have enough inventory to support that demand? Is anybody having buyers that have seen everything on the market and can't find what they want?
Yes.
Okay. That's a typical perspective when inventory's down, right? So here's the thing, Dan, you're saying you have a buyer that would buy today, but they can't find what they want. That should be a lesson to all of us. We've got to take those stories to these to our messaging and to our listing tables to create motivation to get these sellers to put these properties on the market, right? Um, I don't think that's a one-off. Anybody else having the same experience?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
having it with quite a
Monte,
few buyers. It's not just a one-off. It's not one client. It's several.
several. Yeah, I think where inventory is not coming on the market at the pace that we need it to come on the market because we're have less inventory than we did a year ago, but the buyer demand today is stronger than it was a year ago. And remember, everything's that relationship between the two. So we need more listings. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, meaning, but demand's going to go up. And I don't know that the inventory is going to match it, which just says what's going to happen. The byproduct of that is pricing. What's going to happen to pricing?
Going to go up if there's more demand and not enough and low inventory.
Yes, you're
Um,
going to.
I was listening and I was just thinking that this is actually an opportunity. We used the golden letter strategy during COVID. I think this is an opportunity to start using that to farm specific areas for listings. I also think because I'm just getting ready to go on FISBO calls with someone, and the common objection everyone always gets is, well, do you have a buyer? And I think we can actually rewrite that script for that answer and say, yes, we have several buyers that are not finding what they want on the market. That's why it's important that we get you marketed to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So I think flipping that script around is, could be powerful in getting listings.
I think you brought up something, Nadine. I think golden letters are a great strategy in any market,
Yeah.
but they're going to be more effective in a market like the one we're in right now.
Right.
And if you're going to take on golden letters as a strategy, you really need to be mailing north of 400 a week. That's kind of the playbook of golden letters is you need to be putting
Yeah.
400 plus a week in the mail. And you will get a return if you do it right. Who's the guy? Will Van Winkler. He's kind of that golden letter expert. There's a playbook. Your team leaders should have the agent playbook, or we can get you a copy of it if you want to do golden letters. But it's a great strategy right now.
Hey, Brett.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just mentioned that in the room about the golden letters too here, and also around older expired listings and older canceled listings and door knocking around them is it's such an opportune time.
Yep.
Um,
There you go. There was a report that came out last week from the Alliance that talks about laying out wealth, housing gaps facing LGBTQ plus and Gen Z buyers. So I certainly, if this is your market segment, you probably need to grab a copy of this report and familiarize yourself with it, because I think it's a very thorough report. One and two. How do you lean into this to help? How do you lean into this to support closing the gap, right? Anytime a good study comes out, I think it's important to pay attention and see where the opportunity is and see where the moral opportunity is to help with that. Last topic that I wanted to hit real quick is the ultra luxury housing market is regaining momentum. These are the hottest zip codes for ultra luxury housing. Marco Island is number 2. Tahoe City, California, and you got Fort Lauderdale, Florida here on number 9. It's still saying average days on market's 124, and the average sales price is 1.8. But I think it's interesting that the ultra luxury is really centered around waterfront communities. All these communities, with the exception of, well, even Lake Tahoe is waterfront, but almost all these are centered around lifestyle. Incline Village in Nevada, Pebble Beach, California, Nashville, Tennessee is lifestyle, San Francisco, and Fort Lauderdale. So if this is your market and you want to have talking points about ultra luxury when you go to a listing presentation, download this article, pop it in chat, get it into your dialogues. These are some of the hottest zip codes in the country right now for that really high end luxury. There you go. I think we hit everything. So, final thoughts. I think the market is going to speed up a little bit, in my opinion, but we'll see. I think we're going to see some rates come down between now and the end of the year. I think Fannie Mae is projecting closer to 6 by the end of the year. I think once oil starts to flow, inevitably the interest rates will start to come down. So hang in there. But if you do the activities today, you will be positioned to take advantage of the opportunity of tomorrow. Anything else?
Nailed it. Mic drop.
Just go
Done.
and have a great week, guys.
There you
Focus
go.
on what you need to be doing.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brett.